Cool. Right, welcome everyone back at the SubHub podcast. This week we are over the moon to welcome the awesome BlueEwer and Lily. Woo! Blue.
Yep.
You're some sort of SUP champion. Tell us more about what sort of champion you are.
Yeah, sure. So, been paddling for, most of my life really. And last probably 5 or 6 years I've been doing a bit more racing. And then in 2019 I won my first British title in the distance. And then I also won in the technical that year. And then obviously COVID hit and we couldn't go paddling, couldn't race for like a year or so. And then came back again and managed to retain my titles in 2021. So I'm like the British champion at the moment as it is. So hopefully I can keep it that way, but we'll have to see.
So casual. I'm just British champion, you know. Everything.
I haven't done the sprint championships yet, okay. But hopefully get to do them this year.
2022, it looks like it's gonna be a big year. Like obviously we've had the explosion in popularity of paddle boarding, and certainly as a leisure pursuit. We're seeing loads more people interested in racing, getting into it. It looks from like when you look at both like ICF events, APPs, everything, like it looks like this year's just going to be awesome, set up to be great for it. What sort of plans have you got? Are there any events that you can share that you are in there, like swimwear, or like where are you at? What's your diary like for the year?
Yeah, sure. So I think 2022 for me really is I just want to travel a bit and see some places and kind of find out what races suit me best on like an international level. So I'm open to do some of the stuff on the Euro Sub Tour, the APP World Tour, and then I'm also hoping to go to ICFs and if I can qualify the ISAs as well. So I've done the ISAs when I was younger and like SUP surfing, but it'd be good to do it in like the racing this time.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'd be amazing to represent my country again and just get to travel Europe and the world a little bit more and find out what races I like, and then hopefully I can put a proper diary together for 2023 and be a bit more refined in my training plan for it.
Yeah, because there's a bit of ambiguity, like not all the sort of qualifying events and stuff are clear yet.
Yeah, so I'm still waiting for like GB Sub, which is like the British series, to like release when the qualification for the ISA stuff is, because I think priority is going to be like ICFs and ISAs this year, so going to World Championships, getting to compete against like all the top guys in the world basically, and get myself out there.
No, that's super cool, and like we're gonna like personally, I know we've enjoyed watching you last. It's certainly I've seen you came onto my radar like ahead of the 2021 events, and then watching you sort of smash them last year, that was really cool. So we're going to really enjoy watching you as you go through this season and hopefully qualify for all those international and represent. It's really cool. Massive thanks for even entertaining the idea of coming over to Northern Ireland, and you've been you've basically got like the worst weekend we've had in quite a while. So how did you find, and just a bit of context for everyone listening as well, you were in Morocco like less than
about 4 hours ago. Yeah. So I flew in, got to Manchester Airport at midnight, got home at 6 a.m, got a few hours sleep and straight off to Bristol Airport to come here. So yeah, it's been a pretty long few days. Yeah. But it's good to get the first clinic out of the way and meet everyone over here. Even though it's been blowing a gale offshore. Yeah, at least no one's got blown out to sea. Yeah, no,
everyone's safe and well. Everyone's accounted for.
So far, still got tomorrow.
Cheers, Lily. Thanks for your confidence.
I like how we're setting the standards there, going, well, no one died, so that's a plus. So, what do you think the main similarities are between Morocco and Bangor, where we are at the moment, the paddling? Sea temperatures roughly the same?
It's been a nice offshore wind every day, so it's not too choppy. It's about the only thing. Yeah. It's only about 20 degrees colder here.
So, Blue, you've kindly, again, thank you for coming over. We sort of wanted you to come over. We just knowing where you're at and the standard and level and everything you're at, like just sort of seeing, and we wanted to see and for ourselves like what that looks like, what that level looks like. So being able to see all of that in person and get your feedback We've run, it was like a 4-hour race workshop you ran for us today. With sort of 10 sort of local paddlers who were loving it. You've got another one we're running tomorrow morning with another 10. So yeah, no, that's just been awesome coming over. You running more workshops like around the country throughout the year now?
Yeah, so I've got a few more. Well, I've got one with the SubHub guys down in Cambridge.
Cool.
And then I've got another one up in the northeast with Anna Little and some of the guys at Northern Sub Race team.
Yeah. Cool.
So yeah, she's got a few more lined up.
Yeah.
So yeah, might be a bit colder there than it is here. But yeah, I'm looking forward to them. So
Awesome. And if there was people that wanted to like book you in, for the clinics, is that on a website or social media? Or?
yeah, so just contacting the people really. So contact either Anna Little. I think she's still got spaces there. I think they're doing 2 clinics each day. So it's going to be a pretty full on weekend. Pretty sure the guys in Cambridge are basically sold out. But if you contact them, then it might have 1 or 2 spots left. If you're in the area, but I'm hoping to do some more later in the year as we go probably after the race season. Cool. So yeah, any groups or anything looking to reach out, anyone do anything with me, yeah.
And how did you find? What tell us? What did you think about today?
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, I think session went pretty well. I think everyone learned stuff from it. I think it's good to see some of the guys come on a bit as well from the start to finish. Yeah. But yeah, I think it's good to see that you've still got. Obviously, people interested in racing over here. Like, obviously, we don't really hear, apart from you guys, we don't really hear too much about the racing scene over in Ireland. So it's good to come over and meet everyone into it and get to know everyone. But yeah, it's good fun. Yeah, I think it's good to have that new session with new faces and everything, and then new scenery.
This is something I wanted to ask. With regards to racing, distances wise, because you see a lot of the racing, especially for amateurs and people who just get into the sport, and a lot of it is really endurance based and long distance. Yeah. But a lot of the guys with us and some of the people that we're teaching, they're always going about training. How do they structure the training? So do you think there's a good entry distance, like a 5K or a technical, or what would you say to people to focus on or specialise when they start racing?
Yeah, sure. So most of the races are endurance races, so you do get your technicals and your sprints and stuff, which technicals can be a bit harder, but obviously the distance isn't so bad, but it's a lot higher intensity. I think the best thing for people to get into is for the distance races. It's really easy to train for. You can just go, you don't have to be paddling full chat, you can just go out, get the miles under your belt really, and just go on a nice flat day, and having a nice long race like that is generally quite a lot of people racing, so you're going to have people with your kind of ability even if you're new to it, whereas if you go into the sprints or technical and you haven't done anything like that before, you're just going to get hammered off the line and might not enjoy it so much. Whereas if you do a distance race or something, you're probably going to find there's some people who are going to be loads quicker, but there's some people who will be your pace and you can have a little race against them, so you don't have to be competing to win the race to have a good competition in the race. So I think getting into it a basic, getting to smaller distance races and stuff, and you can obviously do there's loads of events on like that. If you want to focus on the sprint or the technicals, there's not quite so many events on, so you've got to be a bit more specific with your events and your training to get onto that, whereas the distance is super easy to train from. Even if you can't go on the water all the time, you go running or do anything really to pick up your endurance, or cycling, whatever it is. I think that's the easiest step into the racing kind of scene.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. One of the things I've been thinking about is so we're sort of looking at you as a national champ and sort of leading the charge and sort of setting standards in the UK. What?
No pressure.
That's just a statement of fact.
Yeah,
right?
Easy.
Where do you where do you look to internationally? Where are the regions at the moment that you're looking at? I mean, I'm asking this because I think there's probably one obvious growing choice, but there must be loads of people that you're looking at around the world and going, that's interesting how they're developing their scene and all of that sort of stuff. Where are those places for you at the moment, or who are those characters?
For people wise, I think I've always been inspired by Kai Lenny because he does every water sport.
Yeah.
From myself, I'm a surfing background, so I don't just race. A lot of racers, all they do is they just race and that's all they train for. I find that I find it hard to go out on my race board and train every day. Yeah. So I find if I'm getting in the water and I'm going surfing or I'm going foiling or whatever it is, I think mixing up between the sports makes it a lot easier for me to train. Yeah. I stay a lot more motivated as well if I'm doing different sessions every day rather than training the same thing every day. and I get more of my training that way. So people like that who are doing all the sports thing inspire me quite a lot. So it makes me want to like push everything rather than just push the racing. If I want to get better at my surfing and my foiling and kind of everything.
That's cool. So that is literally like, that's your benchmark.
And then, but I think people as well, like Boovie, like you see he's made a proper business out of it. I think I'm quite young to start doing clinics and stuff, but it's good to do because you can't race all year round. And I've got like a full-time job, obviously working. My dad's got a water sports shop, so I work there.
Right.
But being able to do clinics and stuff, like means I can fund stuff. Like at the moment, obviously, there's not like in some countries like France and Spain, there's a lot of funding behind it. Whereas in the UK, there's not quite that yet. So doing all these clinics allows me to go and compete and means I can go to some of the international events and stuff. But if you look at someone like him, he's made like a full-on living out of it, and he's one of the best paddlers in the world at the same time. So it shows that it's doable to have a bit of a balance. You don't have to be a hardcore racer. You can have a kind of business lifestyle behind it as well.
And is that something you would sort of now like aspire to, having seen that, or are you at a stage where you're just going to sort of focus on the events and sort of the travel element, live the lifestyle a bit first, enjoy the events and build that? Or are you going to try and do them at the same time? Or what?
Trying to have a bit of balance, really.
Okay.
I think to be like with the top in the world, and you got to commit every like hour of your day to it. You got to be training all the time, every day, and it's hard to motivate yourself to do that every day for like a year or two onwards straight. So I think being able to do stuff like this means that it'll keep me busy, and I'm not going to be it's not going to be too focused on trying to be the best paddler. I want to travel, and I want to see all the places I'd love to do. There's some of the stops in like Hawaii and Australia and stuff. There's so many big races in like in America. So there's obviously a lot I'd love to do, and loads of places I'd like to see and travel to, and try and get a name out there a little bit. But yeah, I'm not. My goal isn't to be the world number one. I just want to be able to travel and live the lifestyle of it a bit, and yeah.
And can we go there on the funding? Like, what's the? Because I just 3 steps removed from like you guys as like the pro athletes and all of that on tours. How does that work? So like I know you're a JP Rider and Black Project.
Yeah.
So like they effectively sponsor you as a rider, and how does that come about? Is that in terms of equipment, or do they facilitate you going around the world and joining this tour?
Yeah, so at the moment it's just supporting me with my equipment and stuff. So yeah, giving me basically a chance to use all the best equipment I can.
Yeah.
I think if I was looking for any funding or something, I need to really kind of pick myself out there a bit more. As it stands, I've like established myself in like the British racing, but worldwide, there's still like a lot to do. So I wouldn't expect anything else quite yet. But I think the next few years I'd like to kind of get out of Europe and try and do some bigger events and stuff and compete with the top guys a bit more, and so push myself.
Do you mind me asking what is the bigger events? Like what's on your hit list as the go-tos? Like what?
So I mean, obviously the APP attracts like the best of the best.
Yeah.
But if you look at like the Euro sub events now, like they're growing like massively, and there's more and more top athletes coming to them.
Yeah.
And like they're well funded. There's like prize pots at all the races and everything, which is good motivation for a lot of the top guys to come over. But there's loads of races which I'd love to do, like one day. Like one of the times where like obviously the Red Bull heavy water looks amazing, and coming from a surfing background, like I'd love to one day do that.
Awesome.
It's the same as like Carolina Cup or like the PPG. There's so many big races, especially like out in America, and even in Australia there's like some epic races. There's a lot on the list.
Do you find that, like, I mean, we've spoken about this before, just in terms of like where we are nationally on the curve of like getting there sort of thing. Yeah. But like, it just seems like certainly the French for me stand out at the moment, and the Americans are sort of two real. And Australia, but like it's definitely for me, France and America seem to have just really nailed like in terms of events, regularity of like big comps and drawing in the best athletes around. Like would you agree? Are there
I think so. I think particularly the French, like the amount of support that they've got in like the water sports world makes it so much easier for the country. And if you look at like France and Spain as well, with the funding they've got a lot of like youth up and coming. I think and also for those countries as well, like Americans and the French, having like those role models, they've got 3 or 4 athletes who are right up there competing to be the best in the world, whereas in the UK we don't really have that. There's good paddlers here who've been competing internationally and stuff. You've got people like Ryan James and stuff who have basically travelled and done quite a lot of the big events, but there's been no one who's really been at the top from the UK. So it's a bit harder to find like people like coaching and training over here, whereas if you look over there, they've got constant like world-class athletes. So it is a bit trickier when you haven't got those like role models closer to home. But yeah,
we're here for you, Blue. All right, just give us a call. We're short flight away. If you just wanted to Zoom, we're always here. I can imagine the last phone call on his list. No, I won't ring them. And Lily, what's it like then, lifestyle-wise for you? Because I'm interested in terms of, and I said this to you yesterday when we met, that I don't want to use this term disparagingly, but like that sort of like the wives and girlfriends sort of you're in that sort of position. Is that a cool lifestyle? How is that? Do you enjoy the events?
It definitely ties in with like how I used to do a lot of dancing, so how Blue's lifestyle and like how he changes his lifestyle is really similar to how I used to have mine. So not going out, not drinking loads, training endless hours. Like I do like 9 till 6, like just like long hours, and just like still the training. Like I really enjoy going to gym, fitness and stuff like that. So it definitely ties in really well. And I've got like quite a like water sports background anyway, so it's just something I really enjoy myself. So it's really
preferred water sports of choice. Like if you don't have to say paddling. Paddling is not compulsory.
Like surfing, sailing, but I do really enjoy. Yeah, I do definitely enjoy watching it, but I probably wouldn't hop on a race sport myself because it's not really the type of athletic sport I'd choose myself, because dancing is really my background. But when it comes to water sports, I've definitely got more of like a sailing background. When it comes to water sports, but so I think it's nice because everything really ties in anyway. Like even skateboarding, like because I'm from Cornwall, so everyone around me just surfs or skateboards or anything water sports related really, because that's just what we got around us. Like there's not really much else you can do in Cornwall, so it's quite nice because we just got a lot of similarities. So when I go to these events, I don't really get bored. Like a lot of people come up to me and be like, oh, you've been watching for hours, like you're not bored, like you just stand here in the cold. And I'm like, I actually really enjoy watching it. Like I don't think it's that big of a deal. Yeah, today maybe it was quite hard. But I just think like support can go a long way. Like even if it's just like helping, before races, after races, or like just speaking to people, like such a chatty person. So if we're like going to APB like events and stuff like that, it's nice because just like chat to people, and everyone's got like really similar, like good similarities with like water sports. Like you don't have to just be into paddleboarding to get along with the community. Like, I feel like everyone's it's such an easy group of people everywhere. Like everywhere I've been to and all the events I've gone to with Blue, like I've really enjoyed it because everyone's just so welcoming. Never felt like unwelcome, whereas like in some spots, like you can go to some places and it can be a bit like rough water. Not with paddleboarding, with like other water sports, it can be a bit like touch and go. But I actually really enjoy it. I think it's fun, and I just think.
What's it like for you then, like having that support and like knowing that you've got someone, like a partner who's like actually willingly supportive and happy to go around? Like, does that make a difference, or are there moments when you're at if you're at like a weekend run event or anything, are there moments where you just need like space to get in zones or anything, or what's? I
think it's definitely good. I mean, like anyone, it's sometimes you need a bit of space to focus, but it's good. Like I could have a girlfriend who's just doesn't want me to go events. Gets annoyed if I'm going away or training and I'm not seeing her every day. It's good. She's so understanding, and it means I can train properly and I can go in the water all the time, and like she doesn't mind sitting on the beach. Whereas some girls, I'm sure, would get bored within 10 minutes of being down and watching, not getting attention.
Half the time, if I'm not in the water anyway, it's probably because it's just too big for me to get in the water. So I'm like, we'll just sit on the beach rather than getting smashing waves on my head. But it's a lot easier in the summer because if he's in the water for hours, and I can just be tanning. So in the winter, it can be a bit more of a struggle, but I still really enjoy it. I mean, I've obviously lived at the beach like around the beaches my whole life, so it's not really a big change. Like watching people surfing, watching people in the water, watching sailing, that's like not new to me. It's just already, like that would be like day out, so that'd be like, right, yeah, we're gonna go watch the sailing today or something like that. It's like not really a chore. Like a lot of people have like come up to me and been like, oh, I'd get so bored, and I'm like, I don't really get it, because it's just, I'm just used to it. But yeah,
I was just thinking, like, because we are setting up a race series over here, and like we've thought about
that plug in,
just dropping it, and it's going to be so good. Good prize money as well.
Amazing.
Just like
Prize money.
just a
point against.
Yeah. Well,
That's the main thing.
Yeah. Well, it's 3 for the winner, 2 for runners up, and 1 for third place. But one of the things we've been thinking about doing is, because you want to make it more of an event, and it must be difficult, like especially in our climate, with the weather and everything. It's hard for like the people who are watching, all the spectators. And I was just thinking, when you're saying about Cornwall and like the community and everything, and like boardmasters, and when you have the festival, and that's one thing that we want to kind of bring to it, and bring like a DJ in and have a bit of music. And I suppose the question is, like for both of you really, is going from your point of view, what do you think the current tours could be doing better for the spectators? Or if there's anything that you're going, do you know if they had this, or if there was like a screen where you could watch it, because especially in the distance, it's like you guys have gone off, so you kind of go, yay, and they off.
Big screen, I think, with like for the media, because most of the races you got media boats now. Feels like cars onto a big screen, it's so much easier for people to follow. Otherwise, everyone's standing
even
on
the
their phones.
this year did the drones follow it, and then like they had a couple of people on boats filming stuff, so like the footage remotely from the Glar was really cool this year.
It's good on the boats. It is good, because a lot of races I've seen, like there was one in Cardiff Blue did, and he went off and it was like all the way down a river, and after about 10 minutes, not even that, I mean, you couldn't see anything. So I was with Blue's cousins, and we were watching it on our phone because they were live streaming it. But the only problem with the boats live streaming it is that sometimes they can accidentally so the races can get the boat weight. So like people can catch up quite quickly, can get a bit dodgy with how they're filming it, because the boats are going in between, and that can be a bit unfair for the race. I've got some things where I was like, that's not really unfair, because some people...
Have you made any complaints?
No,
has it ever got to the stage where you've been
really,
like...
I'm not that...
I'm not that
worried about it.
It's because it didn't really change anything.
You can get on a foil while you still want to
I'd love to see that though, and just going, on like a team boat, and then all of a sudden there's like a load of these riders are just catching, going, you get, that's not good.
Yeah, it'd be nicer to do, because when we went to the APP World Tour like promotion stuff, they did like loads of things where they had like a DJ on all day, and they also had like a group of people that weren't all in the water. So there was people that were also coming in that were just like walking around London, and they were just like getting on the boards for fun, and you were like teaching some random people that had never been on one. People were coming down, they were coming down from their like offices and their like office stuff, and like falling in the water in suits and stuff, and we were like in the middle of Canary Wharf, like really weird. But that was quite good, because there was just a lot more to do for me, because obviously I am kind of like stood around for some of the times where the distance ones, obviously that's basically like 57 minutes where he's like out. So sometimes it can be nice to have like a big screen and things like that, or even like a commentary with the big screen, so you can see who's who, because you can't really see them when they're in the water. If they go so far out, like obviously it's easy for me to tell Blues because he's just right at the front all the time anyway, so don't need to struggle with that one. So that's not really a problem for me. But for other people, if they've got some people that are head to head, or it's nice to have that running commentary of like who's coming in at the same time, and then like it gets it more exciting, I think, rather than just like them coming in and everyone being like, oh yay. It'd be good if there was like, it's coming in. I just thought that'd be a bit better.
Yeah, we could do it like you guys mentioned that you're going to Cheltenham for the horse racing.
Yeah.
So it'd be great if you had like
especially
one of those
for the
guys doing it. Run on the outside and he's breaking left.
Especially for the technicals, because they're a lot more exciting. Yeah. Obviously, if you've got people falling in, and then you could say like if people, they're more like neck and neck when it comes to the technicals. I think it's more like.
It's definitely a type to think the technical's cool, because there's not that distance for people to break away significantly, and then he's got like the elements of the chop, the turns. Yeah. People can get taken out at any moment, so that's like personally I just love watching the technicals. I just watch them all day. They're class. Blue, what else? What are the first couple of events you got coming up this year?
So first one on the calendar is Head of the Dart, which is yeah, fingers crossed get to the full course this year. So I've never, last few times I've done it, it's been blowing a gale. So they've had to cut the course and like go there and back. So fingers crossed get the full course this year. So I'm looking forward to that one. It's always, first race of the year is always exciting.
Is that a 16?
I think it's about 12, I think.
Oh, is it
12? I don't know, maybe. But it's always exciting. It's the first race of the year, so you get to see how much quicker or slower everyone's got. So you don't really know what to expect getting into it. And then obviously, I think like a week or so afterwards, it's the Cardiff race, which is the first one on the GB circuit.
Yeah.
So I'm booked into both of those. So that's,
Cool.
that's where we're at the moment.
Awesome stuff. First of all, thank you both very much for this and like going through this, because like you didn't have to do this, so really appreciate it. Thank you both for coming over. Really, we've loved having you so far, and we're only halfway through it. We've got another session tomorrow morning, so yeah, really grateful for you to come over, show us your stuff, and it's been awesome to watch and just listen to, like, you know, just like your methods, thoughts, how the things you're doing, all of that sort of stuff is great. Not just for me, that's like, it's a selfish thing for me. Like I love seeing all of that, but all the guys today, we've had loads of great feedback on the workshop, and really enjoyed it. So just thank you very much for coming over. It's cool. So look him up, BlueEwer, if you're not following him already, BlueEwer 01. Look at that, number 1. That's a wrap for this podcast. Thank you all for listening. Thanks to Blue, thanks to Lily. Hope you're all well. Hope you're all safe. Enjoy your paddling. We'll see you soon. Cheers.
Literally the worst thing.
Oh, I just, I'm shit.